Welcome back, everybody, to the CF podcast. I am Clint. Today with us, we've got Jason.
What's going on, guys?
And we've got the man, Buck Doyle, in the house. Dude, thank you so much for joining us.
No, thanks for the opportunity to be here.
Yeah, man.
Dude, absolutely. Now, when Jason said that he took one of your courses, I got to be honest with you, I got jealous. I was like, dude, this is so cool because, you know, I remember watching I think Surefire did a video 4 years ago with you. It was like the fundamentals of gunfighting.
Right.
And I just thought, man, that's so cool. And then just your mindset on things. And, you know, I immediately liked you too because, you know, I'm a Marine myself. You're a Marine. I was like, yeah, this dude's cool. He knows what he's talking about. And then it was watching Coleon Noir, who we've got a podcast scheduled with tomorrow, by the way. So that'll be really cool.
Haze him.
Yeah.
Harass him a lot.
Yeah. We got it. Don't worry. He'll get hazed. Yeah. Especially for how long it's taken to get him on here.
Absolutely.
But, you know, something that was really, really cool to watch, though, is how quick you are with those double taps at range, at distance. You know, it's like, man, the fundamentals behind that and the practice to get there. Ooh, I've tried it a couple times, and it's like being able to manage that recoil and being able to see that target acquisition pop up. Like,
right.
Dude, so cool, man. So cool. I mean, so first of all, for those that may not know, Buck Doyle, introduce yourself. Give us a little bit of background, man, and why you're here at SHOT Show.
Oh, Buck Doyle. I'm 54 years young.
There you go.
And so grew up in a military family, so a military brat. Joined the Marine Corps right after I graduated high school. Did about 21 and a half years in the Marine Corps on the infantry side. And then I contracted for the DOD for about 4.5 years. And in 2014, kind of hung up the gun and then started doing training. The training part was not planned. It just kind of happened.
Yeah.
But it's evolved, and I like it. My wife likes it and pays the bills. And so
that's always good.
Fun. But the biggest thing out of all of that was I enjoy teaching.
Yeah.
Right.
So teaching and the satisfaction of whoever I'm teaching is learning, watching a light bulb go on, stuff like that. So, that's it.
Yeah, that's so cool, man. I can only imagine, too. You know, I've been, like, man, I was a platoon sergeant for a while, and, you know, at my old unit, and I've been just in the Marine Reserves. And, you know, instructing some of my guys, and then, you know, how they kind of build that respect, and then you see that, and you kind of like take ownership of that, and you start to see them kind of learn their job because you're helping them teach that, and then you start seeing them doing their own thing, and they're getting it now. They're not asking questions anymore. Yeah. It's like, I helped raise you, you know.
You're mine. Go into the world.
Yeah, exactly. You know, go into the world and do great things. So I'm sure you've heard that before. Right. But Jason, man, as one of his students, you know, what kind of instructor, what kind of teacher is Buck over here, man?
First of all, I already know I can nerd out on gear and stuff. He's gonna absolutely slap my hand down and break it down to the bare basics. And one thing that I will say that I learned, like, at your course is trust what I have and just go with it. There's so many times where I was readjusting. You would come back and be like, "You see that shit?
Right.
Do it." Mm-hmm. And it's just that feedback. That's a key phrase here. Seeing that feedback and reading that, and that really helped. It's a journey, always a student, but to definitely just hone in on that.
Yeah.
Brother, when I'm telling you we're shooting up a ridge, okay, doing sprints back and forth, shooting up, what was that, 210, 225?
The cliffs?
Yeah.
It wasn't that far.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that one.
That's good.
What was it?
It's 100 yards.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, 100 yards, I'm embarrassed, but just using everything, tracking your target, and that's a big thing. Staying connected to the gun, and in all, let's back up here. You teach gunfighting, so to a T, and bar none. Some of the best training I've ever been in. But yeah, ramping it back, tracking your target, staying connected to the gun, getting that feedback, reading terrain, everything to its ending, and then we actually added an even crazier factor. Oh yeah, by the way, we did it at night. So,
oh wow. Yeah.
So, you know, under nods and learning your system and actually, I mean, it just was a complete mind-blowing experience. And I think one of the other training points that I took away, especially when we were out in the wide field and we had to go through the brush and everything, I learned so much how some of my kit hinders me.
Mm-hmm.
And seeing that in real time, hey, can you see that target? Can you PID that?
Right.
Like, what's going on? Can you actually make this happen? because if your life depended on it, you have to be able to make the shot.
Right.
And we just broke it down, man. It was just like you said, the light bulb came on. Hey,
Right.
do you need all this shit?
Right.
Probably not. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sitting here thinking like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna shoot with my laser. You know,
Yeah.
I'm zeroed. Okay, do the work, man.
Yeah,
Put
do
it on
then.
target.
Right.
Absolutely not. Okay.
No.
So what do you have?
Yeah.
You have your optic.
Yeah.
Shoot passive. Do what you got to do.
Yeah.
And every time, I found myself completely ditching my lambs and just going passive and just going what you got, man. And that was really
An eye-opening experience.
experience because normally I'm a gear dude. Like I'm like, oh yeah, I gotta get this, I gotta do that. It's gonna be here, and like just going back to what I have. That's almost analog.
Yeah.
In that sense, and just trusting it, man. That you really opened it up for me.
And that idea probably of less is more.
Yes.
In a way.
Yes.
Don't we do everything, whether we play a sport or whatever? We really focus on the fundamentals. So
Yeah.
if we're say football,
Yeah.
there's a footwork, there's the handwork, there's walking out the plays, walking the plays.
Right.
And then we put on the pads, put on the helmets. So it's the same thing. And the gunfighting tenets that I put out there, it's a term I use.
Right.
And I'm not going to get into the whole what gunfighting is actually like, but it's take the fundamentals and asking yourself, what do I want to do with them?
Right.
I want to be able to master the fundamentals. I want to be fast and accurate. So there's different venues and training aids you can use to hone those skills. For me, it was always after my first deployment, I found we had a lot of weak points and actually applying them in a real world situation. Now,
Right.
when I mean real world, I mean on uneven ground. Okay, on a flat range, we're bolting fast as we can.
Right.
But you're not going to do that in a tree line. So what does that look like? And just stuff like that. If you're conditioned and you're slapping the table and say, "Hey, I'm good to go," but you've been in these sterile condition environments, and when you get in those real world environments, it can slow you down and hinder you
Right.
to the point where someone can get hurt or whatnot. So, especially at night with all this new gear, which is phenomenal, I love it all. But when can you use your lasers?
Right.
When can't you?
Right.
You saw on the tree line, we had a little bit of mist, and you couldn't see with your naked eye.
No.
But the minute you put the nods on, that laser went on. That laser was a big hindrance.
Yeah.
Because it's probably just reflecting back, right?
It was like huge blue.
It just,
Yeah.
it kind of blinds you.
Yeah, it's
Even illumination is just blind you.
Yeah, it's like driving with your brights on in the middle of the fog,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like when
Yeah.
people do that, you're like, dude, you're really not helping yourself here.
Right. But then you also had dust.
Yep.
So after the first person did a run, with your naked eye during the day, you would not see any of that dust. At night on nods, it looked like it was snowing.
Wow.
And when you the light on it situation, you had all this, glitter like a TV that was off or whatnot.
Yeah.
So it's just understanding what you can do, understand the conditions. And I'm not teaching you how to do it. I'm exposing you to it.
Right.
And what happens with people with gears, we fall in love with the gear. So we see what's in front of us, but we don't want to recognize it.
Correct.
Initially.
Right.
We're saying, it's just this $3,500 laser, it's going to work. So, no, it's not.
And we even proved that point of how many
yeah?
times it got cold.
Yeah.
He was like, watch you're going to want to take that can off. And lo and behold, the tree line, it just started misting up so bad. Couldn't see anything.
Wow.
Like it was so bad.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, going to have to go loud.
Yeah.
That's definitely,
that's your only solution.
Yeah, it was crazy.
So break down, what was this course? Like what's the name of the course, and then what's the ultimate objective of this course that you guys?
So the one that Jason attended was the Recce carbon class.
Yeah.
And it was red dot only. So your small frame AR, I can care less what barrel length.
Yeah.
And your red dot, and at a minimum all you needed was a white light and goggles.
Easy enough.
But if everyone had lasers, whatnot. And so let's go over the basics of doing everything during the day, and then we transition to night, looking at your gear, and we'll start off shooting passive. So goggles and your red dot. And everyone shooting the courses so far like that, I said, okay, now that you mastered that or understanding and mastering that, now let's turn on your lasers or whatever you have. And then from there, just kind of go up and then come back down. And then from there, it's on the students to say, or a shooter, just what do you want to use?
Right.
And understand your environment. So we'll be in an open area. Cool, I can use everything. We'll go in a more congested area with tree lines, whatnot. And then you got to start doing some pre-thinking, pre-planning before you go into your course of fire. You're going to find yourself turning knobs in the middle of your run.
Right.
So that's basically it. A lot of movement. PID, when I say PID, it's not only on your target, but also the engagement area.
Yeah.
What's around there.
Yeah.
And the PID involves you anticipating what your feedback's going to look like if you hit or miss a target.
Right. Okay.
It's a lot of just really looking and understanding your environment. It's like, I call it situational awareness. We use that term all the time.
Yep.
Well, you have to have it and be able to move and shoot, engage your target, and then you're going to tell me what happened.
Yeah.
I want to hear the story. And then, it's basically the course.
Right.
I will say this, that you simplified it so well, but there's way more to that.
Sure.
The way that he sets up the course, and we use those engagement zones you think you're staring at something that's 100 and something yards.
Yeah,
and you're like, okay, cool. Turns out it's 3 something, especially when we were looking down from
Right.
way up top. And he's like, oh no, that's closer than that. I was like, there's no way. That looks like damn near 600 yards. Like, what are you talking about? And he's like, no, you can get that. You can get that. Look at what you got. Let's go back over what we did. We literally just did this. So execute it. Like I said, I started leaning towards the gear side. I started going back a little analog, and that's when I started getting things that the light bulb started clicking. And like I said, man, the way that you put things together on that course, or for pretty much any course, is just unfathomable in the zones and how you do it. And you might say it's simple, but this stuff is totally breathtaking, like for real, refreshing, so refreshing. And just the openness between everybody who comes to the course, man, everybody leaves with some type of perspective.
Yeah.
Like, you completely change, and that, like, 100%. And you're like 36 yard zero.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
that
a good one.
Came in handy.
Yeah.
Very much so. And it's like stuff like that. It just really took me out of my comfort zone, number one, because, we all have these things that we bring in, bad old habits or just things, nomenclatures that we already know. So for me to take that, and see where the training wheels fall off there, you're going to give us some, I wouldn't say pointers and tips. You're going to give us the real, the raw, and what's going on. And then we can either take that and apply.
Right.
And so the best thing about that is he'll literally just sit there and look at you and be like, what are you doing wrong? No, what are you doing wrong?
Yeah.
Let's fix it. And then boom, we'll apply it. And then be like, did I tell you?
Right. The moment you can identify what you're doing wrong, now all of a sudden you're learning, right? Yeah. And that's cool. And it's like, okay, all right, I know I'm doing this wrong.
Right.
All right, how do I fix it? And then you start seeing like you said, the training wheels fall off a little bit, right? So Buck, explain to me, man, what's like your ideal in this course, right? What was the max distance you guys were shooting out at?
We shot out to we did a 500 kg.
500, yeah.
Okay, and I would like to know. I mean, you're obviously getting all sorts of different terrain.
Right.
Obviously, it was cold.
Yes.
Yeah. What would be your ideal gear and weapon setup in an environment like what you gave this course at? Because like you said, you're over here like, man, I want everything, right? And then all of a sudden, I mean, you're talking to the guy who loves my 10.3 Mark 18. It weighs 20 pounds because I got all the gizmos and gadgets. I got mags for days on my plate carrier with my battle belt set up, Oh. And then the moment I go through running through the woods, I see I got mags going left and right. I can't even hold my rifle up anymore because I'm too tired. I'm winded and I'm not in a high elevation and it's a nice sunny day.
Right.
Right. So it's like you realize really quick when you start putting your stuff into an actual practical application, start using it maybe in a real world scenario, dialing it back a little bit.
Start slimming it down.
Yeah, that less is more idea might be a good idea. So just elaborate a little bit if you don't mind. Just like, hey, your ideal. I mean, and I'm sure a lot of the nerdy guys out there like myself can be like, all right, so manufacturer, like you like BCM, you like Daniel, you like Arrow, where are you at with it?
None of it.
All right, well, there it is, guys. That's a
wrap. I'll be honest with you, I don't. There's not a need for me to get wrapped up in a lot of the gear.
Sure.
Because I'm not wearing it.
Mm-hmm.
If you're talking about rifles, I'm going to go with the LaRue.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
Mark LaRue is he's one of the plank holders of building ARs. So I mean that's my era back in 2005. I think he came out with his first upper, and then soon after that his rifles. So I run a lot of LaRue's. If I do a custom build, I mean I'm not really particular in any kind of receiver sets, but I'm gonna have a proof barrel.
Yeah.
Put it in there, and then take it from there. Bolt guns, same thing.
Right.
I'm gonna use proof barrels. But other than that, I just gear wise. I mean, Jason educates me. I mean, we got on it.
Yeah, that is true. It's like, what the hell is that? It was grown to say.
Yeah, I keep everything simple. So I want to teach you how to shoot,
right,
and how to move. You know?
Yeah.
That's about it, and see what's going on. And the less you have on, the better off.
Right.
You know, the course is going to go. Once you leave there, it's up to you to figure out what you're going to add on to, you know, your body, so on and so forth. It's really hard because I get the emails, hey, what length barrel? I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, what are you doing?
What are you doing exactly? Your mission will dictate your gear and everything else.
Right.
Yeah.
So I look at capabilities.
Yep.
So you'll see me out there. Of course, I may have an 18-inch AR with a red dot.
Yep.
Or I may go down to 11.5. What length barrel I use probably depends on the class. If I see someone using short barrels and struggling, I'll go get a short barrel and kind of show them, hey, this is how I use it to, you know, get the outcomes we want.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I try to get everyone out there initially to focus on the process and not outcomes.
Right.
I care less you hit the target. That means nothing to me.
Right.
If going through the process, you're getting position, you're doing your weapons manipulation right, and your visuals are on key, because I'll ask a lot of questions like, what are you seeing, so on. If those are being done efficiently,
Right.
you're going to get the outcomes you want.
Right. Yeah.
But the minute I'm talking about you're hitting the target, you're missing the target, whatnot, you're not going to focus on any of the process.
No.
Yep.
And so it's always about the process. And if you could leave the course understanding that, then when you get home, your homework is to continue to work on the process, and you're going to get your outcomes.
Yeah.
But if you go to a course thinking you're going to knock it out of the park, hitting all the targets at the fastest times,
I can definitively tell you.
Yeah.
That ain't gonna happen. I got my ego crushed real quick. And we're just talking, I mean, like I said, I wouldn't even say it was a crawl, walk, run, because everybody there was sort of kind of advanced. So it really came down to, hey, do you really know what you're doing?
Right.
And seeing that happen, and once we started doing that terrain change, everything fell apart.
Right.
What you would think, your placement, even down to literally jumping over a rock, thinking I'm going to be good. I'm still trying to track my target, but yet, oh shit, I just moved, and I everything jostled. Now I don't know where. I lost my target because it's set up where you can't even see it until you reach that point of domination, and that right there.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
And I think people take that for granted.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
So, you know, and just the movement alone, I'm forcing you to go to a place so you can track your target.
Right.
And you may not be able to track it because it's maybe far, but you can track the engagement area, identify terrain features where that target is at, so on and so forth. But then your movement, going from A to Z or A to B, what's there? It could be 20 feet away. But do you understand every step you take and where your foot's being placed?
Right.
Is it a divot? Is it a rock? And once you start opening up your eyes and start seeing the whole field, things start to click.
Yeah.
And you can anticipate when to stop.
Yeah.
And just like that, also moving to your point of domination and not running through it.
Right.
Your footwork, accelerating and decelerating. Those are all things that I took for granted, you know, prior to going on my first deployment in Iraq. Those things that we didn't focus on.
Right.
And so it took a minute for us to adjust, but training didn't stop while we were downrange. So if we had any downtime, we had to focus on things. But yeah, it's a process. And that's why I fell in love with teaching, breaking down constantly. And I learned from y'all. So when y'all come out to the course, I'm watching how each individual's taking in the information I'm giving them, and then processing it, and then executing it. And I find out, how do I communicate better, and then also how different people execute.
Right.
And so, and not to go down a rabbit hole, but there's a lot of people that put, absolutes on hand placement on a rifle, or absolutes on where you place the rifle on your body. Connection is connection.
Right.
Gear, your body type, so on and so forth. As long as it's connected and you can repeat that, then that's what you got.
Right.
With the next person, maybe a little inch or left, right, up, down.
Yeah.
Body type. And then visuals. I mean, really getting in that conversation of what do you see and how do you see it? And then you get different perspectives.
Yeah.
Especially, let's learn this in a few years, is listening to Matt Pranka, this visual cues and aiming cues, stuff like that, or schemes, aiming schemes. I took his verbiage and applied it to the long gun stuff and the reticles, and that's helped me articulate a little more efficiently to the student on how to hold stuff like that.
Right.
But it's the process,
Yeah.
and the more you peel that process back, you just get better.
Right.
And the hits come.
Yeah.
Right.
But a lot of people just focus on hits.
Yeah.
And
They don't learn anything.
Yeah, I will say this, like day one, you could tell everybody was like, oh yeah, I'm going to come in here and do this.
Right.
And like souls were crushed.
Oh, I can
then he
imagine
would-
you coming with that ego or
Right.
that confidence.
And like I said, the way that he does it, he's going to put his hand in his pocket and be like, okay, are you done? Let's really get down to this. And then you start like that process. And I will say processing speed. And I will say that when we were in the Pines, when I'm sitting there trying to track the target, I'm looking, and the way that you had set it up was like the trees were blading. And then we had that, mind you, most of every target that we were hitting was reduced A zone, right?
Little guys, right?
It was A zone or a little bit bigger than A zone.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
Wow.
So it blading, and then like the canopy of the trees would shine down, so you would have little streaks of white. And then we're talking about like you're far out, and you're like, oh my God, how can I get this? How can I get this angle? How can I do this? Move your body.
Yeah.
Get that placement. See what you got. Get the feedback. Boom.
Yeah.
Move on. And so just learning that aspect of slowing things down, because yes, the hits will come, but when you're shooting to either save a life,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying, or return fire, this is where it really counts. And taking that moment, that extra time just to get it and make sure you got it was just, it's bar none, man.
Yeah.
It was really, really an awesome experience, like for real.
Yeah, and you guys got get some high angle shooting things like that
Yes.
done too, because so I know we were talking a little bit about what like the different obstacles you have to overcome in shooting in this environment and that training. I mean, high angle, that's a whole different. If you're aiming up at a high angle, it's going to be different than versus aiming down, right?
We didn't shoot any high angle.
Yeah.
High angle is going to be 45 degrees,
Yeah.
500 meters.
Okay.
But they are angles. And
Yeah.
so the whole purpose of shooting angles was basically its positioning. So you still have to apply, got to have grip, got to
Yeah.
connect the gun, and you have to have visual. So it's just when you are looking up, where's the placement?
Right.
So if we're shooting level ground all the time,
Mm-hmm.
you can repeat it, that's great. But just moving up, moving down, even getting a sitting position, or it's just making sure you're applying the principles, but understanding that may be tweaked a little bit because of your position.
Right.
And so just shooting up at an angle, it's just that.
Right.
It's not so much like, oh, where's your bullet drop? Don't worry about that.
Yeah.
Worry about how's your presentation look. And also you're moving. You're moving and then coming up. It's not something we do often. But if you're going to do it once, then you need to train often to do it one time.
Right.
But yeah, it's just like I say, try to give you every look possible, and then make sure that the principles and the fundamentals of marksmanship are being applied to that,
Yeah.
and then
Yes.
be fast at it.
Right, and be fast at
I mean,
it.
that's what it's
the
all about,
That
right?
is what it's all
So,
about. Yeah, got to get in the fight quick.
So
yeah.
we'll do it, but then I'll start pushing time. I'll say, okay, I want you to go this fast.
Yeah.
Knowing you're going to miss, but I want you to go. I want you to. There's something about during the process, if you obtain a tangible, like, oh, I got that time. Cool. So I can get that time.
Right.
Now I got to get that time and get my hits.
Right.
So it makes the shooter start doing self-diagnostics, like, okay, when I went fast on the transitions, I wasn't my connection wasn't great. I
Right.
felt the connection here, but when I swung over, it wasn't there. But then I saw myself, go past the target or go prior to target. Once the shooter starts seeing that, they can self-diagnose. I'm done.
Yep.
They see what I see.
Right.
And I'm just going to ask, you saw what happened? Yep. I don't need to say anything.
Right.
He's going to start fixing it himself, and then I'm just there to reinforce that.
Yeah. How cool is that?
Yeah, it is. But you got to. I just have to be aware of what to push.
Yeah.
Would it be times, or it could be just the position we're doing, or even like doing doubles. Some people have doubles. Cool. I'm gonna have you shoot 5 rounds, or we're gonna do a bills drills.
There you go.
Okay, do bills drill, bills drill. Okay, you're okay on the bills drill. Now we're gonna go back to doubles, and all of a sudden, like, we're knocking the doubles out of the park. Like, wow.
How about that?
So I always like to push the standard. So if I need to do it in this time, I'm gonna try to get to this time, and I'll back it up. Okay, it's the way it works for me. But yeah, it's the process. It's all about the process, and then having other people. I call Mike Pannone all the time, and I just ask him, I say, what are you doing here? Or how are you doing that? And I mean, I've been shooting 30 plus years.
Right.
But I still need to ask questions to figure things out. Yeah, it's the process. I love it.
Yeah, so cool, man. And and Jason, you made a good point too. That Buck here teaches gunfighting, right? You don't just teach long distance shooting, right?
I don't teach long distance shooting.
Right.
There's no such thing as long distance shooting.
Yeah. Can you elaborate the mindset there?
Yeah, well, it's hard. I don't like putting labels
Right.
on things, or try not to. I mean, there's sometimes you have to.
Right.
Shooting is shooting is shooting.
Yep.
The way the principles a person uses a shooting pistol or carbine or bolt gun, lever action is the same.
Yeah.
The mechanics are maybe different because the tool's different,
Right.
but the principle is the same. When people usually use the term long distance shooting, there's this the tempo of the shooter goes down, and we're going to shoot slow.
Right.
Even when I watch PRS matches, they do a great job of moving position, stuff like that. But I feel that you can move faster,
Right.
and still get the same outcomes that people typically shoot slower. Also, when you look at distance, if you have iron sights and your max distance on that pistol with an iron sights or a rifle with iron sights may be due to your vision.
Right.
But if I have a magnified scope, distance is all relative
Right.
as far as what's far and close. With my 260 Remington shooting 800 yards, that's not far.
Right.
And there aren't anything, it's point and shoot with that bullet coming out of the gun. Now with 5.56, it may be 600 yards with that magnified optic. So to me, I look at the capability, and that's it. I don't stamp a label or limitation on what you can do. So to me, when you say long distance, you're telling me how we're going to shoot.
Right.
You're basically putting me in a box.
Yeah.
Okay. So when I shoot bolt guns, I shoot bolt guns the same way we do with AR platform.
Yeah.
We're shooting fast.
Right. And that's that mindset too that I want to get into, because it's really cool. When I think distance shooting, like everything's slow, everything's like really methodical, like pow, you wait for that impact. Okay, all right, cool. I see what that is. Gunfighting in my mind is pow, rack that thing. You need that next round because you got to be able to track it and all that stuff. But I think it's an entire mental state. It's a training thing. You know what I mean? Like, dude, you got to get on it and you got to send that round because, hey, in a real life scenario, this is a 2-way range, right? Right. It's not. You're not just doing long range hole punching, right? You got to maintain cover.
Right.
Probably a good idea to move after you send that round or two. You know what I mean? Because a sitting target's an easier one to hit, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, so there's all sorts of different applications or different mindsets that roll into it. So that's why I really, when I've watched your videos like that, you say I don't teach this, I don't teach that, I teach gunfighting. And I always thought that was really, really cool. And then, for instance, I think it was you too that said, what is close quarters combat? He's like, hell, in Afghanistan, Iraq, close quarters was 200 yards.
Right.
Like that right there. Like, hey, that was our typical engagement. You know what I mean? Room clearing's room clearing, but close quarters, what's close quarters, right?
It's all relative.
Right. It's all relative, which I thought was really, really cool.
Right. I usually, I like to use Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah.
Oh boy in the tower.
Mm.
The way he was working that gun, and that's the goal.
Yeah. Coming over the top too. And
Yeah.
everything, you know. Yeah.
So the whole thing of like, but if you watch the scene, the way it was looking at his engagement area, picking out targets, anticipating holds, all that stuff, and moving.
Right.
Looking for next up, moving.
Right.
And so it's the same thing you would do with an AR or a pistol. But like I said, for some reason, when we start putting long distance on it, that mindset goes away, and you start going to like an old Camp Perry rifle match mentality. You know, the jacket, the sling, going slow. I'm not saying anything's wrong with it.
Right, right, right.
That's a discipline. If you're making money, got it. Better be good at doing that.
Right.
It's just that what I teach is going to be we're moving.
Right.
Yeah.
Timers coming out. And it's all performance engagements.
Yeah. And that timer, man, when you hear that adds a little bit of stress.
It does.
Yeah, you hear that beep, whatever, you know, or threat, or, you know, hey, you know, all of a sudden you're moving, because without it, even it's funny too, you can be running the exact same day, you just want to go quick.
Yeah.
But without it, you're kind of like, okay, fast. All right, yeah, I'm having fun. I'm good with it, you know. But then all of a sudden you hear it. It's like, especially for us shooters, I think just because we know
Right.
that's gonna, you know, quote unquote trigger us, pun intended, right? And so we're like, all right, that beep, there it is. All right, and I'm racing against that clock. All right, cool. Where am I at? Sweet. Where's my hit? Yeah, that's good, right? There's a lot more that can happen from that, though.
Yeah.
You know,
But
there's a
even
lot
with
more
a
that can go with
timer,
that.
I don't like. So some people look at timer as a negative thing. To me, it's another way to hold you accountable.
Yeah.
So every time you shoot or do a course of fire or whatever, that timer allows for a little bit of accountability there.
Right.
Even if you're just saying, I just want to do this, it's there. And I never look at a timer as a negative thing. To me, it's just, like I said, it's information, and it does put me in a mindset to perform now.
Right.
But I never feel stressed about it, though. If I don't have a timer, it's like, dang, I'm not getting the information. You know,
Right.
Right.
I want to know how long I did this.
It's a useful tool.
Splits or something like that. What are splits like? And, I mean, you know, a lot of people don't talk about splits with bolt guns a lot. If they do, but like, I want to know how fast I'm getting these 10 rounds out.
Right.
And the splits are going to let me know if my manipulation, my mechanics are being done, you know, the same way.
Right.
Can I repeat that? So on and so forth. So timer thing is a good tool.
Yeah.
I mean, not necessarily all the time, but it's a good tool. And I just don't look at it as a negative thing
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah. You know, when we've done some of our shooting too, stuff like that, we like to make some pretty like intriguing intros to like one of our giveaways or something, you know, and it's all Hollywood, right? That's kind of what I call some of it, you know. But there is a difference between, again, you know, a lot of people say, oh, I got cardio and I can run to the target really quick. It's like, okay, cool. Do that through the woods, like what you were saying before, right? Now all of a sudden, oh, dude, roots are a thing, man. Roots are a thing, dude. Oh man, rolled ankles are also a thing, right? So you gotta knock that back a little bit, because, dude, if you roll your ankle in a gunfight, dude, that's gonna suck, you know. And so running through the woods with kit and a rifle, and then trying to get that point of dominance that you're talking about, to be able to effectively engage and visually identify your target.
Right.
All that is a challenge that I encourage people. You know, if you're able to take one of Buck's classes, do it. Because, or even too, if you're able just to, honestly, this might sound crazy, but if you've got property and you can just honestly pick up your gun and run from point A to point B in the woods, do it. It's a whole different thing that, you know, you're not crazy. I think honestly, you're actually making yourself a better human, right? You're getting into better physical shape. Like, just go out there and try it, and then you'll understand, like, man, this is different.
Yeah.
You know, if you don't elevate that heart rate a little bit too and try to send rounds on range, if you just go to your local gun shop and you're just shooting at that paper target, hey, that's one thing. That's fundamentals. That's getting good with your gun. That's learning that. That's cool. But all of a sudden, not go do push-ups, then try to do it, right? I mean, little things like that help. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I never do push-ups necessarily. I mean,
Sure.
And it's fine. But your point is valid. It's there's one thing to be in a perfect, comfortable, you know, state and be fresh and shoot. There's a lot of times you want to be in that state to actually, you know, record how you're doing well. But then there's also things you want to know, well, how I'm going to perform under duress.
Right.
And you want to record that as well. For me, for my culture or whatnot, knowing what we can do under duress was always really pretty important, because we knew when things happen, we're
Yeah.
probably going to be either really cold, hot, tired,
Right.
malnourished, so on and so forth. So it was a good understanding, okay, where can we go with our performance in these, conditions.
Right.
And that's why I go back to the process.
Yeah.
Understanding the process, understanding your failure points, understanding exactly how you're going to manipulate your bolt of a bolt gun, where your trigger placement is going to be, all that stuff. So when you get tired, you can find out, where am I starting to fail?
Yeah.
Okay. For me, a lot of times with the bolt gun, if I'm moving a lot, I'm tired. The minute I don't have that conscious feeling of being connected to the rifle, I know I need to say, okay, I need to pay attention.
Right.
Right.
On an AR, if I'm loading into the bipods, I mean, I'm starting to put pressure on the bipods, then I know I'm getting tired. I need to back off.
Right.
So I want to have like a neutral with a little bit. I want ounces, not pounds, like Todd would say, on the bipods. And so it's just stuff like that. And then, but your point's taken. I mean, you want to have that duress, but like I said, there's a huge spectrum of how you go about training.
Yeah. Right.
If you played sports, you had no pads days for a reason.
Right.
Then you had playbook days where everyone was out there in shorts talking about what's walking through the plays. It's the same thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And there could even and something else too. It's not all physical. There needs to be a classroom setting too, because it's all thought too. There's been plenty of generals and everybody else that says you need to employ this before you employ your weapon.
Right.
And it's like, all right, cool. If you don't think about it, what are you doing?
Right.
And so the mental, again, that's something too, that the mental state, the mentality of gunfighting versus these different types of shootings that we're talking about.
Right.
It's not I don't think it's its own category. It's just if that's what you're in or not. Are you gunfighting, or are you just out here just plinking? Right.
Right.
It's
Again, gunfighting is just a term.
Yeah.
But if I go and shoot with Ben Stoker,
Right.
he's going to apply the same mindset that I am to what he's doing,
right.
because there's a specific outcome
Right.
he wants to obtain. So if he's going to be, the best competitive shooter, but whatever, a pistol,
Yeah.
then he's going to dive into the process and analyze everything he's doing.
Yep.
If he's going to go from this pistol, well, I'm going to use this one this time.
Yeah.
Then he's going to probably tweak some things. I don't know. But it's the process. And I use the term gunfighting because that's my background.
Yeah.
So you can the same mindset in applications if you're a pro ball player, or if you play, it's the same thing. I don't feel in our industry when people train, they're doing that every time you go out.
Right.
That's why you hear some of us very loud about, when you go to the range, have a plan.
Yeah.
If you're just going out there just to hit a target, then I'm not saying it's a waste of time. I'm
Yeah.
saying you could do better.
Right.
You drive practice home, but when you go out to the range, kind of like look at your footing, like focus on different aspects of what you're doing.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I'll say it's a grip day. I mean, I have damage in my left hand, so I'll go out and say it's a grip day. So I'll shoot, but every time I draw or come to appendix or whatnot, my concern that session is on grip.
Yeah.
And care less about impacts, really.
Yeah. Yeah, and it all plays together though. You got to start somewhere, and it's like, hey, if you got an improper grip, you're probably gonna have an improper shot.
Yeah.
And then you're definitely gonna have an improper follow up, right? Because now this thing's recoiled on you and everywhere else. And now your grip's even more jacked up, right? So having days where you practice one very specific aspect of your sport, whatever it might be, that's smart. That's a really good way of looking at it. And this is why I preach dry fire.
Yeah.
Before I leave the house with my concealed carry, I sit there, no kidding, I look in the mirror, and I just, a couple of times, is my clothing going to hinder me getting my draw? Right? And does everything look good? Am I printing too much?
Right.
Did I eat a little too much last night and the shirt's a little too small, and all of a sudden you can definitely tell I got my 365? You know what I mean? Like, all right, cool. Let me wardrobe change right quick, honey. I'll be right back, right?
Thanks.
So again, it's practicing those little fundamentals, and it's the idea of crawl, walk, run, before you start doing it all, and then going back to it. That's something too that I think a lot of us forget to do, is to dial it back and go back one day. Hey, you know what? focus on sight acquisition, just sight alignment.
Right.
Just focus on sight alignment. Just do that right there. That's, again, I just think some good teachings.
Right.
So when you got into instructing, was that something that you did in the Marine Corps as well? Were you a firearms instructor?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
you do a career, you're going to end up teaching
Something.
in your field. So for me, it was firearms, breaching, a few other things. But I did teach firearms, but getting out, it was something I wanted to do recreationally. And then, like I said, when I hung up the gun, so to speak, it just seemed like a natural progression because I wanted to teach. I like teaching.
Right.
And teaching firearms. So I just had to figure out what I wanted to teach and how I wanted to teach it.
Yeah. Well, that's great, man. And then I assume you've had a passion. You said you've been shooting for over 30 years, right? So you've had some sort of passion for firearms or something. I mean, what got you into shooting in the first place? Like we're going way back, right?
Not just Marine Corps.
Yeah, just going to the Marine Corps.
In the Marine Corps, I didn't shoot anything until I joined the Marine Corps.
Yeah. So one of my best friends, he same way. He was actually with me. This was before he joined. I had an AR and all that stuff. He's like, He's like, nah, I don't even want to be close to it. Man, he graduated boot camp. He came back and he's like, bro, let me show you the correct way to get into the prone position. You gotta make sure your heels are flat. All right, you gotta make sure you're square behind your rifle. He was gung ho about it, and now I'm like, all right, tight. Then shortly after he got home, I joined after he did, and I just thought, man, that's pretty cool. So it was cool to see him kind of grow. So I think you probably may have had a similar experience, and then having that passion for teaching, passion for firearms behind that.
Right.
Really cool, man.
Oh,
really cool.
That.
Yeah.
I always wondered, with all your class locations, how do you go and pick, okay, this is where we're going to do this, this is where we're going to do this? Because, like, just for anyone who tries to schedule a class, each one of these places are totally different. And you're learning totally different things. And it's just, I always wondered that, like.
So Teasdale, New Mexico, Idaho, they all I guess kind of resemble areas I've deployed to.
Right.
Interesting.
And I remember certain things about those areas. And so I do all the basic fire maneuver stuff like that. But then I like to inject some of those challenges of movement, visual, stuff like that. So all those places allow those trainees to pop out naturally. I don't have to build anything.
Right.
So we're going to go up in this tree line. You're going to look over here. You're going to find your target and shoot. And that right there is, to me, is to be able to move someplace, identify your target in a raw setting, and then engage, read your feedback in that raw setting is what I look for. That's why that's why I like going out to those places.
Right.
But yeah.
Yeah, nothing's sterile out there. And that's what I like. It's raw. And you're walking in, and first of all, well, shout out New Mexico at the Q Ranch, 55,000 acres of God's country. And you're taking in this breathtaking view, and you're just like, oh my God, okay. And he's like, yep, there's some targets out there. We're going to go find them. Like, how cool is that? You're like, wait, I thought we were going to be, nope,
and
absolutely
that place
not.
is very unique because it has different types of terrain.
Yeah.
Because you're going to be on cliffs, and then you can be on like a lot of pines, and you can have open plains, and then there's even a little desert part of it. But it's all out there, so you get different perspectives on feedback. Shooting a target that's in a tree line, it's like, man, you really got to trust your holds and really look hard. Where if you get in kind of the plains, you kind of a benefit reading feedback, because if you're short, you'll get dirt, and behind you, you get grass and everything, stuff like that.
Right.
But no, it's the different venues. So again, shooting and then going into an environment where you think you're going to apply it, and understanding what that's going to look like. It's real important. Yeah. That's why I go to those places.
Yeah, that's cool, man. I would. Oh, dude. All right, so sign me up next, because that just having that is super cool, and then the instruction, and then the teaching is again just behind that. I mean, dude, I can only imagine how you just probably, I mean, you probably felt like a little kid in school, like, dude, I'm so excited for today, right?
Yeah.
You know?
It was crazy. And just like he's saying, like these different engagement zones, once you have one set up,
Yeah.
okay, cool, I think I'm good. He's like, all right, we're going to go this way. And everything that you just
You're like,
had
wait,
there,
wait,
you're
wait,
like,
wait.
whoa, hold on, wait a second.
I just got comfortable.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you're going to switch it up, and then you try to apply and just seeing that in that process, and it's just.
See, that's you know, part of me, the mind fuck, right? Because that's the Marine Corps right there. Because we'll be done with the battalion run that you just did for 6 miles. You see the end point, you see your unit right there, and you just run right by it. And you're like, we're not done.
Yeah.
You're not done. Oh, come on, you know.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden you're like, okay, well, I guess we're gonna keep running now. So you thought maybe you gave it all, you're right there, and then you run right by it, and you're like, we're not doing the left leo, you know, we're not slowing down here now. And so that's what happens. You get in that comfortable, you get your hide and all that stuff, and it's like, guess what? New threats over here now.
Yeah.
Damn.
And the game plan changes.
And the game plan changes.
And for me, it's like watching y'all shoot. Remember, I'm not shooting all the time with you, so I feel okay. They're getting bored with this. Give them something new.
Yeah.
So that's one thing for me is like I want you to walk away thinking about, okay, I didn't master any of that, but I understand it.
Right.
I understand what I need to do to be better at it, and then we'll go back and readdress it. But you're not going to walk away any of my courses like, oh, I smoked it.
Right.
Because I mean, and it's not because of me. It's because I have like a training canvas that I can tweak and change in a minute.
All right.
At the same time, if everyone's struggling on something, we can go over here and, you know, tone it down a little bit.
Right.
Right.
But yeah, no, having a facilities like that allow me to be creative on the fly. And if you ask a question, what if? There's no what if.
Because you're doing it.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's cool, man. Oh, dude, that's so cool. That excites me.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not even signed up for a course yet. So it's like, man, that's too cool. So I got another question. How good of a shot is Michael B. Jordan?
I'll be honest with you, he's good.
Yeah, dude. So something I admire about him, right? And about, like, you can definitely tell, like, the guys like Chris Pratt, others, that they're trying to be authentic. They're actually seeking legitimate instructors. Yeah. And they want what they're doing on camera to translate to those of us that are like, you know what, I appreciate that. Like the in Terminal List where Ben Edwards, played by Taylor Kish, I think, is running the Beretta, the 1301 shotgun, and how the team is maneuvering. He's reloading, they're watching,
right.
And then the comms, they communicate, loaded, ready, set, go, bam,
right.
And they execute, and it's like, that excited me.
Right.
I saw that got me. I was like, dude, that is so cool, right?
Absolutely.
And so Michael B. Jordan, for him to be getting out there, you know, and Coleone too. I gotta give him props also, man, because he's out there shooting, he's out there fighting for the 2A. And he's out there exercising the 2A. And because you'll see a lot of guys out there, you know, they'll do the political side of things, whatever, you know, and that's cool. But you got to have respect for the guys that are actually putting into play the things that they're talking about.
Right.
You know what I mean? Which is cool, which is really cool. And so like I said, it's neat to see, I think, a lot of these newer, you know, Hollywood types. And we were at Taryn's Range not too long ago, and people are showing up that you would never expect. I was like, dude, you're the director of Friday. I love that movie.
Yeah.
He did the Italian Job, he did Friday, did all these other ones, Fast 8 and all this stuff, you know. And he's out there shooting like a G3, you know, that he's getting sighted in and everything. I'm like, that's freaking cool, you know. Actors, singers and stuff, you know. And like, again, you wouldn't have in this world that's, you know, a little bit more left, a little bit more progressive, and a lot more anti-gun. They're over here, you know, big singer. So a singer, Lana Del Rey was there.
Yeah.
She's over there, and I'm like, what are you doing? She's learning how to run a 365. She goes, somebody broke into my home, and I want to learn how to shoot, and I'm comfortable with Tatiana.
Life got real.
Yeah. Life got real, and all of a sudden, oh, wow, I should probably, like, you know, learn how to do this.
Right.
Bam. You know?
Yeah.
How cool is that stuff? So it's really cool, to, you know, and what I think, too, is happening is that people are starting to realize guns they're not taboo, man.
No.
Yeah, especially in this country, they are the norm. You know,
Right.
you know, they are the norm, and it's really cool when you get guys out there that are willing to take one of your courses with all the high speed gear, right, Jason? And then realize, all right,
I stripped off my kit literally in the first 45 minutes.
That's typically what happens.
45 minutes.
Dude, that is so funny.
Yeah, I was like, this is not going to work.
Yeah.
I'm sloshing around. The way I'm moving, as soon as we went to one area, I was like, absolutely not.
Nope.
And like for me, you know, like I said, coming with bad habits, sometimes you think you want to brace off of something.
Yeah.
He's like, what if we use that tree?
Right.
He's like, what if that tree branch breaks? What happens to your shot?
Yeah.
And I was like, shit, what happened? And when I went to go break down, right, because he was like, why are you breaking down? I went to go break down, and I went around, and my muzzle completely slapped the branch. So it was just like, okay, I hear you.
Yep.
It happened in real time, and I'll correct it. Thank you.
How cool is that, man?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I love that type of stuff. So it's kind of like, you know, build something you trust,
Yeah.
right? You know, build something that you know you can trust. Because, yeah, you're right. What if that tree branch breaks? You know, you don't know the history of that tree. Could be dead right now, right?
But he could take. He had the ability to take the offhand shot.
Yeah.
He already proved that early in the morning. So that's what I was saying. So
Do it.
yeah, we practice taking offhand shots at this distance.
Right.
You know what happens. You get your games.
Yeah, right.
Game mindset.
Yeah,
and
dude,
you're
you
like-
get the game plan in your
Yep.
head. And see, the thing that the military has taught me and everything else is you got your game plan laid out. And the moment shit hits the fan is the game plan goes away.
Yep. Gone.
And the shit hits the fan could be something as little as now you got to take the shot.
Yep.
Now you're actually doing what you thought you were gonna do.
Absolutely.
Right? And dude, it changes rapidly. Yeah, so freaking cool, man. Well, Buck, before we close it out, dude, you know, really, if people want to take one of your courses, you know, where can they go to find you and your follow through consulting, correct?
Right. Followthroughconsulting.com is the website. Go to that page, and then you'll see some tabs up there for course information, and you can scroll down and sign up for the courses. Or you can go to Follow Through Buck Instagram, and you can DM me if you've got any questions.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's only two places to go: the class information or by word of mouth most time.
Yeah, and something too that's I know it's translating on camera, ladies and gentlemen, is how humble this man is.
Yeah.
Like dude, like his self promotion's like, yeah, just go to the website. You know, you'll figure it out. You'll be all right. You know, but dude, seriously, I've been following you for a long time, watching your videos, and I've learned a lot from you just through some of your videos, man.
Appreciate it.
And that's why I'm familiar with the gunfighting term and all that type of stuff. Not because it's so common of a term, but it's that mindset that you've been putting into practice and that we can watch and that you've lived.
Yeah.
You know, and
Attempted to.
and
I think Jason had probably all the fastest time, especially with the transition.
what
So-
I would never believe that coming from him.
No. He kind of scared me because there's a few times I told Connor to take the line so I can go over there and drive practice because I was like, nah, he ain't taking that time. He ain't gonna beat me on this. But no, he's a good shooter.
Yeah.
I know consistently I can do 1.2.
Yeah.
If I go a little bit faster than that, I'm either over confirming or under confirming. But we're talking 3 points. Boom, boom, boom. I'm good.
Yeah.
So you can see it on my Instagram. I like to brag a little bit on that one because
yeah,
I got that the first time. I was like, yes, absolutely.
Dude, man, I saw that, and I saw some of what you were putting on your story too, and I was getting the FOMO, man. I was like, man, I'm wanting to be a part of that, right? So, Bucky, man, if it's cool with you, dude, I would love, to maybe get the team out there and do that, and then we record. We obviously don't want to give away everything, right? It's like we want kids. There's another thing too. We can record an entire course, and we've done this before. And people can take some of those drills and everything else, but unless you actually have an instructor there and you're actually putting in these reps, it's a whole different ballgame. You can watch on the camera, you can listen to the podcasts, and that's all fine and well, and that's really cool, and that's another aspect. That's that classroom training in my mind.
Right.
But if you're not actually out there and then getting rated, right? Like somebody saying like what you've been talking about, Buck, like, okay, what are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
What are you going to do about it? Because you can keep making your adjustments and, you know what, I hit low right. I'm just going to aim Kentucky Windows and staying pop, ding. All right, cool. That got you that one hit, right? Now you're going to remember exactly where you aimed last time because you got to make that same type of hit again, you know? But now you've moved. Nah, man, now your shit's all jacked up, And so that's something that, I think would be really cool. Team comes out. We get some good footage. We do some shooting together.
Let me know what venue
Yeah.
you want to come to, and
New Mexico. I want you guys to suffer like I did.
Yeah. See, you've been there though. You know, you've been there. So do you want
That
to change
doesn't
it up?
mean the outcome will be the same.
That's true. That's exactly what we just talked about.
I will tell you, it does not mean anything.
Right.
And things will, like, I'm telling you, it was great. I think it was day 2.
Yeah.
It wasn't that cold. It was good. But at nighttime, the temp dropped so bad.
Yeah.
It was literally 17 degrees, 26 mile an hour winds.
Ooh.
I'm getting whiplash.
Yeah.
Like, it didn't get better until we got into the trees, but then that didn't make it better because then all this haze and stuff started happening.
Right.
Listen, with the way that he sets it up, when we ran it during the day, you think, okay, I got it. As soon as the lights go out,
It's a whole
all that
different-
goes, it's gone.
it's a
It's
whole
gone.
different
You know, like,
world.
where is the target? What's going on?
It's that game plan.
Yeah.
It's that game plan. It's either like, all right, I'm going to do the exact same thing. It's just going to be dark now. That's what I got nods for.
Psych.
Yep.
Psych.
Yep.
Yeah.
Dude, that's too cool, man. Well, we need to partner with AGM, get us all some nods up here, go shoot this course, and have a damn good time doing it, and see if you're good a second time around. You know what I mean?
I don't know. Performance under pressure, man. Let's see what happens.
All right, guys. Buck Doyle again. Follow through Buck on Instagram, correct?
Yes.
And Follow Through Consulting's your company.
Yep.
And if you guys want to get some good training on gunfighting, make sure you hit up Buck Doyle. Thanks again,
No, I
dude.
appreciate the
Semper
opportunity.
Fi, brother.
Yeah, same to you, brother.
Appreciate
Absolutely.
you. Thanks for stopping by. And guys, we'll see you next time on the CF Podcast.